In November 2022, a small research lab in San Francisco released a chatbot to the public. No massive marketing campaign, no celebrity endorsements, just a simple web page where anyone could type a question and watch something remarkable happen. Within 5 days, 1 million people had signed up. Within 2 months, that number crossed 100 million. It was the fastest consumer product adoption in history, faster than Instagram, faster than TikTok, faster than anything the internet had ever seen. That chatbot was ChatGPT, and the company behind it, OpenAI, went from a non-profit research lab to a business generating over $20 billion in annualized revenue in just 3 years. So how exactly does a chatbot, something most people use for free, build a machine that prints billions of dollars? The answer is a business model designed around one core idea: charge people in proportion to how much value they actually receive. And that idea, applied layer by layer across consumers, businesses, and developers, has produced one of the fastest growing companies in corporate history. From free tool to subscription machine, the first version of ChatGPT cost users absolutely nothing. OpenAI knew that was temporary. The free tier was never the product, it was the funnel. It existed to pull hundreds of millions of people into the habit of using AI before the first invoice arrived. That strategy worked almost too well. By early 2023, OpenAI launched ChatGPT Plus, a $20 per month subscription that offered faster response times, priority access during peak hours, and early access to new features. For casual users, it felt optional. For writers, researchers, lawyers, and developers who had built their daily workflows around the tool, $20 was trivial. The retention numbers proved that. Roughly 89% of paying ChatGPT Plus customers stayed subscribed after 3 months. Nearly 3/4 were still paying after 9 months. Those are numbers most subscription businesses would trade their entire executive team to achieve. But OpenAI did not stop at $20. It built a pricing ladder. ChatGPT teams came next, aimed at small companies wanting shared workspaces and better data privacy controls, priced at $25 per user per month. Above that sat ChatGPT Enterprise, a bespoke package for large corporations with no usage caps, advanced security features, and dedicated support. Enterprise clients do not get a public price tag. The deals are negotiated directly, and Fortune 500 companies across finance, healthcare, legal, and retail have quietly signed on at figures that dwarf the consumer tier. Then came ChatGPT Pro at $200 per month. This tier gave power users, engineers, scientists, financial analysts, and high-volume researchers access to the most capable models without rate limits. Sam Altman, OpenAI's CEO, announced it with the confidence of someone who already knew the waitlist was enormous. The result of this subscription pyramid has been staggering. Consumer and business subscriptions alone account for the majority of OpenAI's direct revenue. By August 2025, over 5 million businesses were paying for ChatGPT products. At the start of 2025, OpenAI was generating roughly $500 million per month. By July 2025, it crossed $1 billion in a single month, a 100% increase in 7 months. No software company in history had accelerated that quickly at that scale. The famous names adopting these tools are everywhere. Morgan Stanley deployed ChatGPT Enterprise to help financial advisors surface client data faster. Salesforce embedded OpenAI's technology into its enterprise software. Shopify, one of the world's largest e-commerce platforms, integrated it across merchant tools. The subscription model had matured from a consumer novelty into a foundational cost of doing business for some of the largest companies on Earth. The API empire and the Microsoft deal, subscriptions are only one piece of the machine. Running quietly beneath the consumer product is a second revenue engine, the application programming interface, or API, that is arguably more powerful in the long run. The OpenAI API allows developers and companies to plug directly into the same underlying technology that powers ChatGPT. Instead of logging into a chat window, a business can embed GPT-4 or newer models directly into their own products, pipelines, and services. They pay per token, meaning they pay in direct proportion to how much the technology is actually used. The more their product scales, the more they spend. This is where OpenAI becomes invisible infrastructure. Duolingo uses the API to power AI conversation practice. Snap used it to build My AI inside Snapchat. Instacart embedded it to help shoppers navigate recipes and product suggestions. Countless startups have been built entirely on top of OpenAI's API. When a user chats with an AI assistant inside a banking app, a legal research platform, or a customer service portal, there is a reasonable chance OpenAI is collecting a payment somewhere in the background. The API model is elegant because it scales automatically. OpenAI does not need to sell another enterprise contract or acquire another user. It simply processes more requests as its customers grow. Sitting above all of this is the single most consequential deal in the company's history, the Microsoft partnership. Microsoft has invested over $13 billion into OpenAI across multiple rounds. In exchange, OpenAI's technology became the engine behind Microsoft's Copilot, which is now embedded into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Teams, and Outlook. Microsoft Azure became the exclusive cloud provider for training and deploying OpenAI's models. The partnership gave OpenAI immediate access to hundreds of millions of enterprise Microsoft customers without a single cold sales call. Satya Nadella, Microsoft CEO, has described the bet on OpenAI as one of the most important technology decisions the company has ever made. The numbers supported him. OpenAI's revenue grew from $2 billion in annualized run rate in 2023 to $6 billion in 2024 to over $20 billion by 2025. The growth curve tracked so closely with the expansion of compute capacity that OpenAI's own leadership used the relationship between data center scale and revenue as their primary planning metric. Agents, commerce, and the road to profitability, subscriptions and API fees have built OpenAI into a financial giant. But the company has already positioned its next wave of revenue, and it is considerably larger in ambition. The first bet is AI agents. OpenAI has moved beyond answering questions toward building systems that can autonomously complete multi-step tasks, booking appointments, managing files, executing research workflows, writing and running code. These are not chat tools, they are software employees. Operators, an agentic product for enterprise clients, charges per task completed rather than per seat or per token. As companies replace repetitive knowledge work with AI agents, the revenue model shifts from a software subscription to something closer to payroll. The second bet is commerce. In mid-2025, OpenAI announced that users could buy products from Etsy and Shopify merchants directly through ChatGPT without ever leaving the conversation. This is a seismic shift in the company's model. If ChatGPT becomes the place where people make purchasing decisions, OpenAI sits at the most valuable moment in the entire buying journey, the moment of intent. That is precisely where Google has built a $200 billion per year advertising empire. OpenAI's CFO Sarah Friar has publicly acknowledged that the company is exploring advertising models for its products. The week ChatGPT processing over 1 billion search-style queries, it would be extraordinary if no advertiser wanted access to that conversation. The third bet is Sora, OpenAI's text-to-video model. Celebrities, studios, and advertising agencies are among the early adopters of tools that can generate high-quality video from a text description in seconds. As creative production costs collapse, the companies providing the infrastructure to generate that content will collect a share of an enormous creative economy. The challenge framing all of this is cost. OpenAI spent $6.7 billion on research and development in just the first half of 2025. Compute and technical talent consume roughly 75% of total revenue. The company is burning through cash at a pace that would alarm most businesses, roughly $8.5 billion in projected cash burn for 2025 alone. Sam Altman has committed to more than $1 trillion in infrastructure spending over the next 8 years. He is building something that requires the revenue of a mid-sized nation to sustain. Profitability is not expected until 2029. But the trajectory has already made OpenAI one of the most valuable private companies in the world, with a reported valuation exceeding $300 billion. What began as a non-profit trying to ensure artificial intelligence benefited humanity has become a business machine unlike anything Silicon Valley has produced before. The model is not complicated: charge for value, scale with usage, own the infrastructure, and bet that intelligence itself becomes the most in-demand commodity of the next decade. So far, the bet is paying off at a speed that makes even the most optimistic projections look conservative. The only real question is whether any competitor can move fast enough to slow it down.